mental health is over, like it's a 30% increase, between the suicide rate, between depression, anxiety. Like each year is going up and up.
David Solomon.
Motivational speaker and entrepreneur, this generation's next great leader.
You're not a product of your environment, you're a product of your choices. It's up to you to break out the cage for you to be the example of that environment. We can see each other, but not everybody got vision. You watching everybody on Instagram, everybody on TikTok, everybody living this fabulous life that you think they are, but you don't understand the process that it took for them to get there. Everybody on this earth has a purpose. And once you identify that purpose, you will wake up with energy that you don't even know you have. The worst thing you could do is bring somebody to your new island and they're not ready for that yet. The choices you make not only affect you, but it's a domino effect to the loved ones around you. Don't end your life. Don't give up. Understand. Breathe. Because somebody out there needs you.
Give a message to your son. Maybe he watches it, but video is timeless. This will be there forever.
Well, David, I love you, man. And it breaks my core to see what you're going through right now.
So, David, welcome to the Attractive Mindset Studio, man. Listen, yesterday was the first time that I heard you for the first time. First time I ever got the chance to be in the room with you.
Right.
And man, like other people said, like, yo, I'm glad I didn't have to follow up after that. Like the energy that you brought, the presence that you brought, and the message that you brought. Right. Absolutely insane. And so, what would you say would be your category of expertise?
Well, of course, my brand, David Power Talk, help you turn that pain into power. My expertise is really, I know a lot of people go through difficult times mentally, and I've been through a lot of different things in my life that I felt like I was stuck. Like I felt like, what's my next move? Some things was because of things that happened that I've done or things that happened to me that I couldn't control. So I said my expertise is just for me helping people identifying the pain, but now using that as their motivation for their power to now operate in their purpose.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so I can see would that be your official slogan? Pain is power?
Yeah, pain is power. I specialize in mental health, talking to athletes, talking to youth, also adults, entrepreneurs, to help them to be a better version of themselves, either on the field, off the field, in the office, out the office, in general, to be able to scale up with a different mindset, to understand that each day can be a better day as long as you conquer you first.
Got it. And so when you say you talk to athletes specifically, is that just a specific sport or is it just wide?
Yeah, that's a good question. Mainly football, basketball.
Okay.
Because I played a little bit of both myself. Okay. And I think, of course, you see me speak. Yeah. Like I got high energy, as you know it. So, and based on my story, my childhood, everything I went through, I connect with a lot of athletes, I would say, because quote unquote, a lot of our community, we come from single dads. We come from an environment that's not, not ideal, right? But even if you don't come from that environment, you still might be dealing with issues at home where you feel like you're not heard or you feel like you're abandoned. People don't believe in you. So I've been through so many different scenarios in my life story. Is that now I know a lot of athletes, when they come in there, they have this chip on their shoulder as if they can't show that they're vulnerable. They can't show that they're maybe still struggling with things back home. So when I walk in there, I said, listen, pads off, helmets off. I said, listen, uniforms off right now. I want to get into the mindset of who you are and why you here, what motivated you from here. I know there's things that wasn't ideal for the reason why you're here right now. But right now, we're going to understand that the game is 20%. 80% is really you. So I want to focus on you being a better version of you, because once you conquer you, once you are better in every area of your life, in you, family, spiritually, mentally, physically, you're going to dominate in whatever area you choose to dominate in.
I like how you phrase that. And so would you say vulnerability impacts performance or affects performance?
I would say that's a great question. I say vulnerability sometimes it may take some athletes a little bit off their game because some of them have to play with a certain edge, a certain, chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
So when you show other teammates, other friends that, you know, you're a little vulnerable. I'm talking to a therapist. I'm not, you know, I want to talk about things that I really don't want to share with other people, but it's on my spirit. It's on my mind. Mm-hmm. So I encourage people to open up, because mental health is over, like, it's a 30% increase, you know, between the suicide rate, between depression, anxiety. Like, each year is going up and up. Ever since COVID, it's really some dark days. The percentage is going up. So then when I go into the schools and I go into these camps, the first thing I want to do is just have a conversation with everybody. I said, listen, you've been taught, you got teachers, everybody here. I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here for you to find out who you really are.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to tap into that pain. Because in order for you to be great out there, like, if you heard my story, you got to own, yes, mom, dad on drugs. Yep, watch my mother do an overdose. Dad, we got the same name, but guess what? He wasn't there in my life. So I know there's somebody sitting out there saying, wow, I had to live with my grandmother. Wow, my parents was on drugs. Wow, I didn't know you had suicidal thoughts. You tried to commit suicide. Like, I got a saying, you don't look like what you've been through. You don't look like what you're going through. So a lot of the athletes, or even just individuals, entrepreneurs, because you know, as an entrepreneur, it's not easy doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different mindset to get up every day and defend and fight for yourself. Like, to really get up here and just every day understand that whatever you don't kill, you can't bring it back. So you got to go out there and do what? You got to go feed your family. You got to find something. It got to work. And then sometimes it don't work. Sometimes you lose big. And then when you lose big, you got to get up even bigger. So I know that a lot of people need that right mindset to say, okay, you lost. But guess what? It's not a loss. You learn, actually.
Absolutely.
You know?
And where are you from originally?
Originally born in North Carolina, a small town called Henderson, North Carolina. So, as you heard a little bit of my story, I mentioned a trailer park. So yes, I was raised in a trailer park, single wide trailer, with my mother, a little bit of my father. They both was addicted to drugs back in Henderson. And if you watching this episode, you know Henderson, now they might have more than one McDonald's, but when I grew up, it was like one McDonald's, it was one Kmart, it was, one of everything, right? But I'm proud from where I came from, because I tell people, you're not a product of your environment, you're a product of your choices. So no matter what environment you in, it does not put a cage around you. It's up to you to break out the cage, for you to be the example of that environment. And now for you to now inspire that environment to be something greater than they can't see. Because like my grandmother taught me, she said, listen, everybody in this neighborhood, right, yeah, we can see each other, but not everybody got vision. What's going to be your vision when you leave here? What's going to be your vision because mom's is in rehab, because dad is not around? One grandmother told you can't live here no more. That's just what you can see. But your vision's going to be high school. Your vision's going to be college. Your vision's going to be, whatever you dream to be. So that's why I inspire anybody that I speak to. I say, yes, you can see the job at Amazon right now. You can see you at the post office right now. Yeah, you can see you at Walmart. But your vision is the entrepreneur. Your vision is the author. Your vision is a motivational speaker. Your vision is a podcaster. That's the vision. That's what you hold on to, and understanding that when you get up every day, it's just your vehicle for where you about to go. But as long as you understand your destination, it's okay. Your GPS, what happens when you make a wrong turn? It reroutes you. So a lot of people, they get discouraged because the GPS, it tells you, you're going to get there in 60 minutes. Yeah. But guess what? It's not your timing, it's God's timing. So it might take you 120 minutes to get there. But be patient. Understand the process is to develop you for your preparation and to get to where you got to get to. A lot of us, we get discouraged because of the process. You're watching everybody on Instagram, everybody on TikTok, everybody living this fabulous life that you think they are, but you don't understand the process that it took for them to get there.
No, absolutely. And even you having this mindset, I want the audience to really understand how powerful you having this mindset is, because how change, or how our, what we would call it, our essence is derived is from our parents.
Yes.
And so, whether we get into Christianity, Catholicism, or, whatever we get into is a direct reflection of the people who usually raised us.
Yes.
And so for you to not have these people present in your life and you still develop such a powerful mindset, you did mention your grandmother. Do you feel like that was the person that really instilled that, foundational belief in you?
Right. I feel like I know for a fact that my mother, she gave it to me. Like, no matter what. Like, I know my mother struggled with drug addiction, but people don't understand the word addiction. It's something you can't control. And I didn't realize that when I was, mad at her because she's still doing it. And people at school was saying, your parents on drugs. And so I'm in conflict with her, like stop. You're like, why are you doing this? But I do know that my mother loved me to the core. My mother tried her best, but if anybody watching this, don't judge anybody because they're addicted to drugs. Sometimes that addiction takes over their body and their mind and their spirit. But I didn't understand that then. So my mother did give me the foundation, the principles of, no, you got to go to church. My mother was in the choir. She sung in the choir. Like, my mother was a queen, but the addiction took over, lost a great job, had to in and out of rehab. Grandmother, had to take care of me. We lost one house, get kicked out the trailer. So it was the struggles that's in our community that you don't understand, that the choices you make not only affect you, but it's a domino effect to the loved ones around you. So therefore, I encourage anybody out here, if you're making any bad choices, stop right now, because you never know the effect that you have on people, because it could have put me in a spiral stage of, as you can hear me talking about it, to not recover and turn that pain into my power. So I do say, pain is power. And I do say you are always in the healing process. You never fully heal because the scar is still there. So yes, my mother started it and my grandmother picked up the baton.
Got it. Okay. And so with your mother still being the foundation that you have, what was a young David mentally battling with at that time specifically?
Right. I heard a lot of the things that was happening inside the home. And when I walked out the door, I still was that energetic, playing football with the friends. But then I remember one crucial moment that I had a best friend. His name was Dwayne. And him and we was close friends. I mean, Wayne, his name was Wayne. Dwayne was in Newark. So Wayne, him and I was best friends. And I remember him telling everybody at school, David mother's addicted to drugs, his father, blah, blah, blah. This was my ride or die, right? And we got into this big fight, in front of everybody. And I will say that was started. A lot of people don't understand some of their trauma they deal with now. It happens because of the trauma way back then. So me not being able to trust certain individuals, certain information, it started way back then, because he was the only one that kind of knew certain things that was happening in my household, but he put it out there so everybody knew it. So now you got individuals that now you're growing up, it's kind of hard for you to confide in somebody, because you say, are you going to turn it against me? Or are you going to use this as ammunition? So that's why I figured out, okay, well, I'm going to say it out loud so that way you can't use it against me, and to let you know that I'm going to tell this because it's going to help somebody else that may be ashamed of it. So the young David, energetic, fun, laughing, always into something, always, I feel like I was always into something because I didn't know how to deal with what was going on back home. I didn't know how to deal with dad in and out, watching my father beat my mother in front of me, rape my mother in front of me, feeling like the black sheep of the family, because, I came from a big Southern family, like a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah.
So both sides of my family was big, my mother's side and my father's side, like down in Henderson, North Carolina, like a big Southern family, right? So on my father's side, back then, majority of the grandkids, nice household, in church, going, just doing the right thing. Little David, he into everything. Little David got issues. Little David got to live here. Little David got to go here. Somebody picked little David up. So it was always, here we go again with little David. So I had to learn how to deal with that. So I would say that I bottle a lot of stuff in and just used it to keep going. When I was with my friends and my cousins, to be, I guess, the top athlete or whatever we're doing, if it's just playing football, basketball, a pickup game, or riding go-karts or whatever it is, I just put all into that to try to beat everybody, to show people that whatever I'm dealing with is not going to discourage me to be who I need to be.
Powerful. And that makes me think about myself a little bit, I got kicked out at 16.
Right.
And my family on my mother's side, super religious, 7-day Adventists, you know, no earrings, no tattoos, no going out Friday, Saturday, none of that stuff. And, you know, it makes me think, you know, how prevalent was religion to you back then with that kind of setting? Because for me, I know it disconnected me from church.
Right.
But it never severed my relationship from God.
Yeah, right. Good question. I felt like I really didn't understand religion back then. I felt like I didn't embrace it back then. I felt like it was forced on me. I was raised, don't get me wrong, like I went to church. I see my mother in the choir. I see my grandmother there. You know, there was moments where we was very active. There's moments where we wasn't. And even when I lived with my grandmother, I was an usher at church. So I think some kids don't fully understand the concept of religion or how do you supposed to, you know, actually, you know, understand the Bible or understand the beliefs of it, you know, or the rules of it and how to, you know, worship it, how to use it in your everyday life. So I was just kind of going with the motion. I was one of them kids because in the Southern family, it's like if you do something wrong, the neighbor gonna beat you, the teacher gonna beat you. Like, so when it comes to discipline, back in my era, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
So therefore, I didn't go against the grain too much. I kind of just rolled with it.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I never really embraced religion until I started going through what I was going through. So when I started going through my difficult moments, when I lost everything, had to file Chapter 7, I turned to God, you know? Like, I used to ride motorcycles. Before I was David Power Talk, I was D-Block. Like, I was the president of a bike club called Curve Killers. So we used to ride bikes all in New Jersey. And we had one of the biggest bike clubs, crazy parties, you know. But, you know, and even then, I would probably say I wasn't as religious as I am now. And my friends are telling me, I think that's the reason why a lot of them didn't really understand who I am now, because I never showed that side when I was with them. Like even yesterday, you see my cousin, he was in there watching me. That's the first time he heard me speak.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah, so when I left, he was like, cousin, I didn't even see that side of you. He said, this is your calling. This is what you meant to do. So a lot of people, you have a calling inside of you, but what happens is that it takes time for that calling or that gift to be fully open, and as you keep your journey of self-development. Because there's no way I could have been David Power Talk and D-Block at the same time. You got to choose one, right? Not saying that D-Block was a bad person, but there was other things I put my time into that would not be ideal for my purpose now, right? And not saying that bikers are bad, not saying that lifestyle is bad. I'm just saying that journey, I don't regret it at all. I mean, I got friends now that I'm still cool with from it, you know? It was a great experience. I love riding motorcycles. I probably might still get back into it, like go to the track or something like that. But however, that chapter is closed. And this chapter would never close. David Power Talk, self-development, changing the world, changing people's mindset, helping people to get out of a dark place, letting them know that anything is possible. But long as God woke you up, he gave you life, he gave you opportunity. Come on, get up. Let's do it. You got this, you know? Because a lot of people don't got nobody to talk to. A lot of people feel isolated. A lot of people hurting out here. Like, cause I got a mindset community, same like yours. And every time somebody come in there, I met this one lady, she found me on TikTok. And I go live a lot on TikTok. And then she sent me a DM. She said, you know, I'm on my 3rd attempt on committing suicide. And I said, do me a favor. Just hold on. Like, I left her a voice note. So every day she would send me a message, and I would send her a voice note, and she finally joined my community. And every time she come on the call, she would cry. She said, you don't understand how you saved my life. Like, I literally was about to drive in front of a train. And she works at Walmart. She just retired, you know, and she's from North Carolina. And to this day, this young lady, she sends me a prayer every 2 or 3 days on my phone, a voice note. And when I tell you, 80% of the time when she send me a prayer, I need it.
Wow.
She said, oh, dear Lord, I want to pray for my coach, David Power Talk. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know the struggles and everything, but I just pray everything. When I tell you, I listen to it, I'm like, wow. So as I saved her, she's saving me.
Wow. You know, and I feel like a lot of people could have their issues or their obstacles, you know, cleared up and even worked through if they understand how to have a conversation with God. And so just to give some light to those people that don't know where to go, you know, what was your first conversation with God really like when you're like, I really have to change and I need help?
I probably want to say the time when I decided to end my life. Like I remember that day. Like I remember I bought this big bottle of pills. I was in my garage and I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't know. I had my car running. I even went to Home Depot and bought a rope. So I'm trying to figure out, like I literally remember, but I had the receipt. I bought the rope and I'm sitting there and I was just like, talk to me, God. Just talk to me. And then something just clicked and I didn't go through with it. I took a cold shower and I remember I called this lady. It's like if you need help, like as I want to say a mental health therapist or somebody.
Okay.
And she said, do you need to talk to me now? And first I hesitated and I said, yes, if you can come on to my house now. And this was the day I was going to end my life. And she came to my house. And when she sat down and started talking to me, it was almost like game time clicked in with me. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant way. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need you. Like, thank you for being here. I felt like that moment, me talking to her, the lion inside of me was like, no, you don't, like, I'm glad you reached out, but you're much more powerful than this, right? And then by doing that, I was like, thank you. We had a whole hour or whatever. She was going to say, you want me to call the hotline? I said, no. I said, no, trust me, I'm good. I said, I'm good. And I promise you, from that day, I literally went from like chapter 7, every account negative, to landing a contract of $1.4 million to build a church.
Wow. And
then I just kept building everything back from there. And then I tell people, I say, listen, I understand what it means to have life. Because a lot of people take it for granted. Like I watched this video on TikTok. This guy was just in traffic, sitting in the car, and this dump truck came behind him, slid out of control, and just fell on him. He's gone.
Damn.
And I said, he would love to be in my situation. Kobe Bryant would love to say, forget basketball, forget the millions, forget the Nike deal. If I could have your life right now to be with Gigi, to be with my kids, and not to be a basketball player, I'll take that right now. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people right now, if you're going through anything, if you're going through some type of depression or mental depression or high anxiety or negative thoughts where you feel like you want to end your life, don't do it. Don't end your life. Don't give up. Understand, breathe, because somebody out there needs you. Somebody out there need you to be a better version of you. So therefore you can understand your purpose on this earth. Because I tell you, everybody on this earth has a purpose. And once you identify that purpose, you will wake up with energy that you don't even know you have. Like I tell people all the time, like I also have a company, a 7-figure company that build luxury homes. So I'm walking away from a 7-figure company, now going from a 6-figure to a 7-figure speaker business. But I had to build this back up. Some people are like, you crazy. You could go from 7 to 8 figures between real estate, construction, but guess what? That's not my purpose. That's not my call. It's like the young man yesterday talked about how he left the mortgage company. He felt like something was missing. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful to be able to build a home and feed my family and make much more than maybe the average person. But that's not my calling. So when I be on stage, when I'm talking, when I'm doing this, I could do this all day long. But you give me 3 or 4 bathrooms or another house I got to deal with. I'm stressed. Oh my God. I got a Cameron calling me. I got Joe calling me. You deal with services. So when you deal with services, you can't control a plumber being late.
Yeah.
You can't control a roofer forgot to put an ice shield on top of it. But the person they look at you, you're the owner. So now you got to fire this guy and you got to hire somebody else, you know? But don't get me wrong, there is a system that you can put in place so it can work better. I understand that. If anybody watching this, they'd be like, well, I'm winning in it, but that's not my calling no more. My calling is this, right? So like any business, there's going to be days I might have a mentee join my program and then she might fall out because she's not doing the work. So either way, no matter what business you're in, you always going to have something that's going to offset the scale, you know? But you got to understand what side of the scale do you want to be on? You want to be on the one something you still love to do? or something you just doing it because of the money.
Got it. And at what, how old were you when you decided that the day, like, hey, I might want to take my life today?
I think that's about almost, I want to say that was about what, 9 years ago. Yeah, right before I got into speaking.
Okay. And did you have your family already yet, or it was just you?
I had my my daughter, and I had my son, and I felt like a failure. I just felt like, because you know what? Think about this. I came from this dysfunctional background, and I was so motivated to show the world, finished high school, went to college, got my degree in engineering. I got a job as an engineer, electrical engineer, 2 weeks before I graduated. So I came from a small town, moved to Newark, New Jersey, finished high school, finished college, get my degree in engineering, left engineering, started my own company, living in Alpine, one of the richest counties in New Jersey, and traveling all over the world, Paris, London, all these different places, Dubai, showing everybody on Facebook what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. And then all of a sudden, I'm done. So this is the first time I ever really experienced anything detrimental for me, because I was always put in the highlight, like, oh man, David doing it. David, that's the guy. You know what I'm saying? I used to throw these parties, Super Bowl parties, that's it. Like he's the man. So when I got knocked off I thought my throne at that time, I didn't know how to handle it. And I've realized anybody else is watching this, when you are thinking about taking your life, you're being selfish. Like I was watching Deion Sanders talking about when he was at the top of his game. He ran off the road for him to commit suicide. He had the gun and everything, and the police officer, came, asked him if he was okay. They said, "Did somebody run you off the road?" And Deion Sanders said, "No, I ran myself off the road." And a lot of us, that's what we're doing with negative thoughts. That's what we're doing when we are not understanding why we should be here. We're running our own self off the road. And we got to stop doing that. We got to get back on the road, get back on the track, because there's so much more ahead of you. Now I think about that moment and where I'm at now. These timelines, these things that happened in my life, it's been amazing. I mean, I had my ups and my downs, don't get me wrong. But when I tell you, I'm like, man, I'm glad God spared my life. Even this moment right now. If I would have went through with it, I wouldn't be here right now. But a lot of people don't want to talk about that. So a lot of friends, when they see me talk about that online or one of my clips, they couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't really know you was in that. My cousin didn't believe it yesterday when I said it. Like, I really didn't know that you was in that place. I said, yeah, I was there. It was my first time I really experienced something like that. But now, man, I lose money, make money all the time. Now I'm like, I'm gonna get it. Like, I ain't worried about it.
No, absolutely. And that's super powerful. And, for your kids to understand this story and this side of you, I feel like, and I don't have kids, and so I can only feel this, but I feel like as a parent, you try to do everything in your power to not have them go through the same situation. But, from a psychology kind of standpoint, there's a quote that goes around that tough times create tough men, tough men create good times create weak men create tough times. And so putting them into that kind of cycle where they don't face as much adversity, especially in this day and age, is actually somewhat setting them up for failure. How do you feel about that?
Wow, that's a deep subject, because I did everything in my power to try to give my kids everything they wanted. And, I have 2 daughters and a son. And one of my oldest daughter, she's in college, and she's about to transfer another college. She got her own job, got her car. Other daughter, she's about to graduate, go to prom, and she's about to go to college. My son, he's bipolar. My son is on medication. My son got kicked out of high school. didn't want to live with me no more. Put him in Job Corps. He got kicked out of there. My son, the only thing he does right now is get high all day. There's not one power talk that I can do to change my son on his direction where he want to say, I'm going to do this. Because it's at a point until he decide. We have gave him every therapeutic environment, every doctor, I put him in this thing in Virginia, the 4 pillars. It's not really a military thing, but it was something similar to it, but it was something to teach you about sports, entrepreneurship, education. He was doing great at it. Coach called me and said, I'm not saying he's going to go to NFL. I'm not saying he's going to go to NBA, but your son is amazing. Get kicked out of there for smoking weed. Then he runs back to his mother, which is not my wife now, because I had him before I got married. And my son right now, it's at a state where I don't know what's going to happen. I pray for my son every day. He's about to be 19. And so this is why when I talk to kids, when I tell you, you're not a product of your environment. My son had the opportunity to live with me in one of the nicest neighborhoods in New Jersey, to go to the nicest high school. Walks out the house, I don't want to live with my dad. I don't want to do this. I remember 2 a.m, my whole kitchen smelled like weed. My old son walked up to me, blew weed in my face. Said, get out my face, old man. I had cops in my neighborhood come to my house because my wife was scared I was going to kill my own son. It took everything in my power not to hurt him because I love him so much. I'm like, why are you doing this? But I understand he's dealing with a mental condition. At the same time, though, he's dealing with a disciplinary issue. He don't want to listen. So the discipline is not there for him. So imagine I could talk to you right now for 3 hours, but I gotta go to work. So when I go to work, you out here, you doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You walking out, you going to smoke shops, you stealing, you doing this, setting friends up, you doing all these, but you're not from the hood. You're not from the projects. I gave you this life, but you want to be in a different life. Like I had to speak in Charlotte called Break the Cycle. So before I went on stage, I FaceTime my daughter. I said, hey, how David doing? She said, David got so high that he started fighting the sky. He asked to hit something that this old man was smoking on, and the man told him, like, brother, this is too powerful for you. He said, no, I got a high tolerance. He took it, freaked out, fighting the sky. For me to hear that, and then I got to talk to the same young man that's his age to say, you know what? We got to break the cycle. We got to do X, Y, and Z. So I get it. There's some parents out here, like I never understood when parents say, you know what, you got to get out my house or I don't, you know what I'm saying? I can't do this no more. Like literally, like going through my drawers, stealing my checks, stealing my, like I've been through so many battles with my son. I mean, battles. And he could have even worked for me. It's like the opportunities that I was giving him. I don't care about your company. I don't care about your power talk. I don't care about this. Mocking it. Like I mean, and it hurt my soul because he don't understand he's digging a hole so deep. When you finally try to fill that hole back up, you don't know how much dirt you got to put in that hole.
Yeah.
And a lot of you don't understand that when you making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, you already, listen, it's hard enough to just start doing things right now to try to level up. But imagine you dug a hole so deep, now you trying to get out of it to now be normal. And then now you want to elevate. So now he got a bigger battle ahead of him. So that question you asked me right now, that's why I pray a lot. Like before I went and spoke yesterday, I went out on the balcony in terrace and I prayed for my son, I prayed for my family, I prayed for the event, I prayed for everybody. Because I know there's people that are struggling with things out here they don't talk about. Nobody in that audience would have never knew that what I'm dealing with my son. It would have never knew that I had to go see my son at a shelter before I got on a plane to come out here to Florida. Because my son don't want to live with his mother. My son don't want to live with his father. My son said, I'm 18 now, I'm going to do what I want to do. So, yeah, man.
No, that's a lot. And the level of vulnerability that you've achieved in yourself to even share things like that, to be authentically you on both sides of the house, you know, is also powerful within itself. And I mentioned it at the last interview with Jake too. You know, Elizabeth Loftus, you know, she was a psychotherapist way back when, and in the early 1990s, she was one of the people that ran the head test for situational, I forget the second word, but basically when you have a conversation with somebody and they have a certain reoccurrence of thoughts, or you ask, or they're asked a certain reoccurrence of questions, whatever they constantly think about becomes their reality. And that reality can't be separated from what's actually real. And so some people that have never dealt with substance abuse or never dealt with sexual abuse or anything like that would really and truly believe that they did, because it's subconscious now. Now you've steeped into a different part of the mind where the hippocampus is remembering this solidified structure of this is my life when it's not in reality. And so the only way to somewhat counter that is the constant repetition of the opposite. And so, you know, I would like you to, you know, look at one of the cams and give a message to your son. You know, maybe he watches it, but video is timeless. This will be there forever. And he can always go back and visit it even when you're not telling him.
Well, David, you know I love you, man. And it breaks my core to see what you're going through right now. And I know the road that you're going down. And I just want to pray that one day that you understand that you're going to be able to beat this. You're going to be the king that you need to be. This would not break you. This would not eliminate you. But one day you're going to sit on the side of the bed and you're going to say enough is enough. You're going to take your medicine. You're going to stop doing drugs. You're going to finish your education. And you're going to do whatever's in your heart that you want to do that's right. So if you're watching this ain't a power talk. This is a dad to son that I love you to my core. And I want you to win at a high level. But you know what I'm going to tell you? I can't do it for you. You got to do it for you. And I love you.
Powerful. And, you know, having that relationship with, even in just the Black community alone, being able to talk to your son, your children like that is not as often as it should be. And I'm glad to say, you know, that, you know, I would consider you a friend and that, you know, a peer that is mentally able to give this level of vulnerability to the world. You know, because this can help somebody else as well when they're trying to talk to their children or trying to do things as well. And so, you know, that brings me to a question. When you're constantly, you know, because I deal with it myself, I have trauma as well. When you're constantly pushing mindset to a certain level, how does that affect your scars?
When I push mindset to other people, it actually heals my scars. Because every time I speak and coach, it actually gets me stronger. It's almost like that scene in Superman. Like, I love the scene when he got the kryptonite, they put the chain around him. He's in the pool and the young lady slowly takes the chain off him and he's like, he gets a little stronger. So every time I speak or every time I coach somebody with mindset, it slowly takes the chain off me. Because the chain that's on me is like, even when you ask me about my mother, my mother passed away back in 2008. I'm still not over that. I'm not over that phone call I got 5 a.m. when my cousin called me and said, "Little David, I want to speak to you." And then when she called me 5 a.m, is something bad, or, you know, you want to borrow some money or something, right? And when I got that phone call, I knew immediately it was something bad. But I held on to so much regret and pain with my mother that it was too late for me to say, "I'm sorry, how can I help you?" Because then when my mother kicked her addiction, then she went through depression and she became an alcoholic. And then she had a heart attack from drinking so much and being back down in North Carolina, small town, by herself. and I'm out here traveling the world, living my best life, when I could have spent more time with my mother. Maybe I could have prolonged her life. But I was so caught up with my own anger, my own not understanding what she was going through, that I wasn't there for her. So I had a lot of guilt in me when I went to that funeral and watching my mother be put in the ground. So then when I got a call 8 years later that my father got stage 4 cancer, and I'm in Dubai on my birthday, I ended my trip early. I went to go see him. They said he had 90 days to live. I went there he had 3 months. I first seen my father, he was in a perfect bill of health, but he was dying inside. There was nothing I could do. But I didn't ask him why you beat my mother, why you do this, why you wasn't there, why you wasn't at graduation. I learned how you met my mother. I found out why, certain things, my work ethic, my smile, everything. I found all that out every day until I had to put morphine in my own father's mouth to numb the pain, because the only thing he could do is blink his eyes at one point. Until a couple of days later, now it's hospice, now he's gone. So anybody watching this right now, if you got a loved one, you got a father, you got a mother, anybody you love right now, learn to let it go. And my mother passing away allowed me to let go whatever anger I had for my father or whatever I had. Because the greatest gift that they gave me was life. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. You wouldn't see me helping millions of people through my own vision and helping you walk in your own vision. But the moment that you let things go, that's the moment that God is going to allow something else inside of you to fill up that void, that pain he took out, that trauma, that scar that's there. Because that scar is always there. Like, I just got to coming flying down here. I got a text on the plane. My uncle passed away, my father's brother. So now Thursday, I got to go to a funeral to bury my uncle. Right? But, we all know things like that come up because we're in the older, we get older. So people, but the reason why I'm saying that is because that's a scar going back to North Carolina. That's a scar going back to his side of the family that people don't understand. Because when you're a child, you don't understand. That's really your developed stage.
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing my old uncles and cousins, I'm thinking about the black sheep of the family. I'm thinking about them teasing little David. I'm thinking about all this stuff that I went through, right? But I had to sit there like, nah, I'm good. I'm a motivational speaker now. Nah, I'm good. I got my own family now. But there's still that little boy inside of me that's saying that I ain't really good. I'm working on it, but I ain't really good. So somebody, you got that little girl inside you. You got that little boy inside you that we know that you really not that good, but you're going to be all right, though. Trust me. Every day, just work on it. Just work on it. Every day. It's a struggle, but people don't talk about it. That's why mental health is so important, because here, it would take you out. This would take you out before anything. Stress would age you. Stress would high blood pressure. Stress, heart attacks. But yeah.
Nah, wow. And what are some of the conversations, and courses or things, tips, advice that you navigate with your community and your program?
So each week we go through a different subject. So one week might be the power, like we had the past 3 weeks. One was the power of letting go. So the reason why power of letting go is so important is because when we had this call, we had to identify the things we need to let go. And once you identify those things, I told them, okay, now we're going to let this go. Then what we're going to replace that with? Oh, we're going to replace that with courage, with discipline. I'm powerful, amazing. I said, because I let them know. I said, listen, two cannot coexist. You can't say I walk in faith and you walking in fear. You got to let fear go. False evidence appearing real, and you got to walk in faith. But you got to remove fear and put more faith back into your soul. So each week we go with something like, even when I spoke about burning the boats. The week before that, we talked about burning the boats. Week before that, it was a very powerful class. I had everybody send me a picture of when they were small. And I brought it up on the Zoom screen, and I said, "When everybody look at these pictures when you small, I want you to look at the picture when you was smiling, when you was playing at school, when you was innocent. Now I want you to think about, what would you tell your younger self now? No, what would you tell your younger self? What is that conversation that you need to have with your younger self?" So we went through those exercises. So each week we go through an exercise to help you to really grow as an individual that you need to grow in. So yeah. each week is something different.
No, that's powerful, especially the visualization, the pictures.
Yeah.
I do something similar, and I just started doing it not too long ago. We take a picture of when they're young as well.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, what would you say to your younger self? And then we take a picture of maybe 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, what would you say to that version of yourself?
Ooh, I like that.
And then the version that usually knocks people off and gets them super emotional or into their head is we take a picture of them right now. What do you say to yourself right now? And them having an authentic conversation with themselves right now lets them know that it'll actually be okay, because it's them telling themselves it'll be okay. It's not me. It's not anybody else. It's not anything else. It's them in the moment, you know, having their time.
Right.
And that's something that I feel like is a dead art. Is we get so caught up in a fast-paced life that we don't take time to ourselves anymore. And we don't even know who we really are.
Yes.
We get caught to our passion. We get caught to our job. We get caught to our families.
Yeah.
And when's the last time we put our phones down and spent 24 hours by ourselves disconnected? And it doesn't happen.
Right.
And so giving them that moment to just have a conversation with yourself, you know, look at the person in the mirror is super powerful. And, you know, your community sounds amazing for that. And I will definitely be referring some people to that community. That.
I'm actually going to use the exercise. I think that's a good next gear to add to it, because that's the reason why I'm leaving like the construction side alone and only focusing on this, because I realized that, you know, I can manage both. But like you said, when you burn the boat, you got to pick one, because when you're trying to conquer two islands at the same time, you're going to destroy you. And by me, you know, juggling two, it's really killing me. Like it's long, like it's a lot. People think, oh, you entrepreneur, you alpha, you got all this energy. Yeah, I do. But at the same time, though, can't nobody take their phone ringing constant every day. Emails and this, and somebody did this. And that, don't get me wrong. Yeah, there's always good scenarios, but still, there's, you know, it's a saying, heavy the head to wear the crown. And a lot of times nobody understands what I go through because I don't show it. But I realized I've been doing that ever since I was small. I've been going through stuff, and I never ever showed people or told people what I actually feel inside, what I'm struggling with. I just found a way to deal with it, between the gym, between motorcycles, between women, between everything. Like before I got married, all over the place, right? But that's just because I didn't come from nobody sitting me down and saying, you know, find a good woman, do this, do that. But also it came from a place where, you know, when you're growing up and you're developing as a man, you think you don't look that good. When you finally get your looks, now you don't understand, you're dealing with self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
So when you finally do get the looks and the muscles, you're trying to get as many women as possible, because you want to now, you want to feel like you're not the ugly duckling. You're not the guy with the braces. You're not the guy with the glasses. You're not the skinny guy, right? So now you want as many compliments. You want oh, you handsome, you this and you that. Oh, don't say that. But you're really looking for that because you went through a stage where you felt like you wasn't handsome. You wasn't important. So a lot of men that's womanizers, the reason why they're womanizers is because they felt the point where nobody wanted them. So now they're trying to get as many women as friends as possible to fill that void. Some of them just doing it to be doing it, don't get me wrong. But I that's why I realized, you know.
No, that's spot on. And that makes me think about, you know, what are some of the characteristics of your wife right now that help craft the David I'm speaking to?
Total opposite of me. And it's everyday struggle. I'm not gonna lie to you, because God will put people in your place at the right time, at the right moment. I remember on New Year's Eve, I was dating this girl, and the ball dropped. I literally went to the bathroom. I said, God, this ain't what I want. I said, God, I need you to bring somebody in my life that I can really appreciate, understand me, like literally. I swear to you. 4 hours later, after New Year's dropped, the girl I was dating at the time, she went home. I'm back. I'm just in my bed. New Year's Day. My wife to this day, she texts me out the blue. Hey, how you been? Because we had exchanged numbers a while ago. We connected. We never really had the first date, right? And I know she's watching this, so she actually blew me off. She canceled last minute, right? I can never forget that. She canceled last minute. And then I was like, okay, no problem. You know, me with the ego, whatever, you know. And then, yes, I went to the bathroom. I prayed New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, as soon as the ball dropped. 4 hours later, I get a text. And ever since that connection, dating, fiance, and then my wife. Because I tell people it's never your timing. It's God's timing. But when you allow God in your life and you let him know what you need from him, he going to help you. Now, when he help you, don't complain when he help you. Because I've been complaining. Oh, my God. She's so picky. Oh, my God. But end of the day, man, I love my wife because she really ride for me. And she really want the best for me. Like, just to have somebody that no matter all the issues you've been through, to say, I love this dude. Like, I love this king. Like Power Talk. Like, no. Like, as soon as we got married, she changed her name on Instagram to Miss Power Talk.
Wow.
Yeah. So she support everything I do. And I love you, baby, be watching this. And I just want to say thank you for being who you are. And every day, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a struggle for me. I'm not perfect. And our marriage, yes, it's an everyday journey of me learning to be that husband that I need to be. Some men that sit up here and be like, oh, I'm the perfect husband. Like I do this with my wife. I do that. No, I got years, layers of dysfunction of me being selfish, of me just, living the life I want to live. To now you got to bury that and you got to be this person that you know that it's already there for you. So, but I'm committed to being the best version of me to be there for you. And she helps me to do that. And at first it's a little more tug of war, but now I realize I tell God, I surrender, I submit. So when I got baptized, I think almost a year ago. And she was proud that I went and got baptized. This is my second time getting baptized. But people think when you baptize, you're cured. That's it. No, that means you surrender to the process now. It ain't you ain't just fixed because you got baptized, right? You ain't just walked out the water and now you the big holy man. No, you surrender to the process of being better. And you're gonna walk through the eyes of God and saying, okay, I'm gonna start doing things better because I know you need me for a reason. And I'm surrendering to you. So that's my version of me being baptized. Understand, like, God, I surrender. Like, you would not bring me this far, give me all these gifts, not materialistic things, but the gifts of purpose. Yeah. For me not to go in a different journey where I'm about to go. So, yeah, man, it's an everyday process. So I tell any men out there, don't feel like you're alone. There's a lot of husbands out there. There's a lot of relationships out there that men don't know how to talk to their wives. And I get that I'm very closed in because I'm learning her and I'm learning me at the same time.
No, that's super powerful. And, I feel like we reached the part of the segment where we call it gem drop.
Gotcha.
And so for gem drop, being, what I got from this entire conversation is not motivation or not, motivational speaking per se, but I got vulnerability. And, for new entrepreneurs, athletes, business people, what happens or what needs to happen for them mentally after they burn these boats?
As you burn the boats, mentally, you cannot go back where you came from. You can't go back no more to those dark moments. You can't go back to those things that don't serve purpose in your life. And a lot of times we spend more time in that rearview mirror than we do in that windshield. That rearview mirror is about that small, right? You're looking at it, put that to the side. Look what's ahead of you. Keep looking what's ahead of you. Because when my grandmother told me, don't look what's ahead of you with your eyes open. Close your eyes and understand the vision that the man above is giving you and walk in that vision without holding on to what's behind you.
No, absolutely. And, I'll make that a double part question because after they conquer the island, we should have the ability to now go back if we need to because our families are over here.
Yes, I love that.
And so how should they rebuild these boats?
As you rebuild the boat, like we always know the saying, I don't know if it's Jim Rohn, the classic saying is that when it's turbulence and the plane is about to go down, you got to put your mask on first before you can save anybody else first. So make sure after you conquer the island, when you take your mask off, you in a full version of yourself, that you got the mental capacity, you got the spirit, you got the strength to go back now. Yes, if you got to save your son, you got to save your family, you got to save the other people. But first, yes, you might got to be a little selfish right now to make sure you okay mentally, spiritually, right? And then you go back, and it might be just one small boat at a time to pull somebody with you. But when you bring somebody on their boat to your new island, you got to make sure that they're ready to come to your new island. The worst thing you could do is bring somebody to your new island and they're not ready for that yet. Because I wasn't ready to be David Power Talk when I was D-blocking or when I was dancing Dave in college. Somebody could have came to me way back then when I'm doing wheelies and endos, say, hey, I want you to speak at this school. I'll be like, what? I'm not doing that. I wasn't ready for their boat then. But there are some people right now, they're waving at you. They need you to come back off the island. They need you to go get them, put them on a boat, and bring them over there because they're ready for you. So when you see, there's a saying, when the student is ready, what happens? The teacher, the professor will appear. So when they're ready, you're going to appear.
Powerful, man. David, this conversation, first and foremost, just thank you again for even giving us your time, your expertise, your knowledge, your vulnerability. This has been an amazing, journey with you because I learned more about you, as a human. And that's what this podcast is really for, is attractive mindset. And that's to really put out what we want to receive back.
Right.
And, just give that insight to people that are watching. A lot of the people that watch this show are new entrepreneurs. Some are in business already, but don't know how to navigate. Some haven't burned the boats that they need to burn yet.
Right.
Some have burned the boats, but don't know how to rebuild new ones. And so giving a lot of insight, letting them see your story, all of that stuff, is there anything you want to leave them with?
The main thing is understand your pain is your power. You're going to find your purpose, and then you're going to get your profit. But it starts with you identifying your pain first. And whatever pain you're going through right now, just find the power inside of it to be the best version of you first. So therefore you can operate in the purpose why God has brought you here.
No, David, man, I appreciate you. If people wanted to tap in with you, join your community, which I recommend, everything like that, learn more about you, where could they do that?
Sure. Everything, Instagram, TikTok, my website, everything YouTube is at David Power Talk. So everything is at David Power Talk. So if you want to join my mindset community, you want to learn how to be a motivational speaker. Also to June 15th in Atlanta, Georgia, I do have my own mastermind where it's only 50 seats only, where I'm showing people how to be content creators, motivational speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, how to brand yourself, how to 10x your followers on IG and TikTok. So if you're interested in doing that, click the link in my bio on my TikTok and my IG and my website. I'm going to see you there June 15th in Atlanta, Georgia.
There it is, man. This has been an amazing episode. This is your host, Moneybag Rich. And as we always say, we look good, we live good. Life is good. Talk to us, we talk back. And we out.